line and black screen.
What about now?
There we go. Now you're a person.
Okay. So let's start this new show in 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. Um, no doubt you heard this episode of the show, and you heard how the ending was not what we wanted. At least the ending was not what I wanted. I had to leave to
It was a
go.
little hurried.
It was a little hurried because I had to go leave and help another friend shoot her Haley, if you're familiar. I had to go and help her shoot um her podcast. And if you watched the live stream, you saw me do that podcast a little bit. You got a little sneak preview of that.
She says hi again.
Hi, Haley. Yeah, Haley. The ending of our podcast we kind of felt rushed on it, leading into yours. So we just wanted to come back. We're going to talk about Hocus Pocus again because Jordan was disappointed he didn't get to talk about Hocus Pocus with me. So we're just shooting something real quick. We're going to throw it on the
and my other have not seen.
And the other have not seen. Basically, the back half of the show got kind of
you get the deleted content that we deleted.
Right. Yeah. We deleted the content, so we're gonna undelete it and we're gonna quickly talk about it. And then I'm gonna tack this on. If you're listening to this on Spotify, there will be no break, and you won't hear any of Haley's podcast. You're gonna have to go find that out for yourself. You're just gonna hear a weird cut, and it's gonna cut to me doing this explanation. And we're gonna talk about Hocus Pocus 1 and 2. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you will not see this on the original, but you will see this on a new YouTube video that I plan to put out probably today. So
the director's cut, the extended edition, if you will.
The director's cut, if you will. Yes.
All those years, Justin, of you hating the director's extended edition, and now you finally get to release your own.
Now I finally have my own. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna quickly do. Let's just go back. Let's rewind. And let's start. Let's do the have and have not scenes properly. Beginning with
Okay. Wait, all of them?
Not all the ones we didn't cover.
Okay.
And if there's anything additional you wanted to say that you feel you didn't get to say about them in the original run through, you can add. So we're gonna start with Hocus Pocus. Jordan, Hocus Pocus.
The first Hocus Pocus.
I respect them. I respect Hocus Pocus because, I said this on when I was recording Haley's podcast, but I respect it because it's dark. It's dark. It's mean. Like it opens with them killing a kid. Like I know I keep going to that, but it's such a big. It's kind of a big thing. The fact that
they did that in a family movie is kind of a big deal, especially a Disney family movie,
right? Like you're not,
and it's not even like they're like doing like the Disney thing of being like, oh no, they insert some parallel where it's like not exactly it. No, it's like they are doing that. They're killing the kids. They're eating them.
They ate the kid. They ate him. They ate that kid. And like you fully expect, is the kid gonna come back to life by the end of it? Nope. Kid's still very dead.
And then the other kid goes to heaven and joins the sister.
Right. Like the thing is, this movie really rests a lot on the strength of its performances. It's gonna depend on how much you like the sisters. Like for me, this movie didn't. I've never really cared for it. I didn't like it as a kid. I respect it for what it's doing, and I respect it for the effort it puts in, and like the fact that it's allowed to be dark. I respect it for that. But
yeah, it's one that I didn't grow up with really. Like I don't have a deep love nostalgia wise for it, but like I had heard about it a lot as an adult, and so that's where I kind of went and watched it really. And I can see why it's the I use the term for it. I use cult classic. It's kind of a cult classic. And I understand why. I do think that in the first one, I should say, I do think that the three sisters do a very it's a very strong performance, especially from Bette Midler. I think that they really bring life to those characters in what is otherwise kind of just an okay movie.
It's I remember again the weirdest part of it for me was the running subplot of the guy being a virgin. Like there's this really weird joke where he runs into a
I
fake
mean,
cop who's like, really? And you're like, dude, he's 15. What do you
I,
mean
I do find
really?
it I do find it kind of funny that that's in a Disney thing, and B, there's the and it's been a hot minute since I watched the movies. Unlike you, I didn't watch them this week, but there's the girl, the love interest, the girl,
Yeah.
the teenager girl, and it's like I kind of would have expected the one who lights the candle to be her,
Well, that's
not to get
clearly what they're going
it's
for.
subverting. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
trying to subvert that.
you're expecting it to be the
Um,
girl, and then when it's the guy, you're like, oh, okay, it's the guy. But even then, it's
um,
weird because it's a
so
Disney
like
movie and he's like a child.
but I respect that they were willing to do that.
I guess.
Um,
Yeah.
it's because it's just like really in a Disney movie. Wasn't it like a Disney Channel movie
Yeah,
too?
yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, it was a very much. I thought it was theatrical. No, it turns out it was a Disney Channel original movie. It wasn't even a
And
theatrical one.
that which so speaking to the quality, and the reason why I guessed that because I didn't actually know, but the reason why I guessed that was because in some ways just the filming style
Oh, yeah.
it reminds me of Halloween Town.
I can see why you would say. Well,
Um,
that's to me. That's what I compare it to. I say contemporary, like in terms of peers. That's what this makes me think of. I'm like, oh, maybe had this come out 2 year, like had. Well, we'll get to it when we talk about the second one. But yeah, this reminds me of that, where it's like this feels like there should be like 4 or 5 of these.
yeah, within a fairly short time
This
frame.
one sets up for a
Um,
sequel. Like it ends in such a fashion where you're like, no, yeah, they could get unfrozen and come back to life for a sequel.
yeah, isn't it just that the light hits them and they turn to dust again? And it's like
Well, the
if another candle came into being, they could just come back again.
well the Bette Midler looks like she gets turned to wood, but the other ones, yeah, they turn to dust.
Um, so yeah, like it's not the fact that a sequel exists for me isn't the problem. I see a world
Oh
where
yeah,
there is
it's
a far more
placement.
successful, yeah, where there's a far more successful sequel,
Yeah,
which happened like 2 to 3 years later.
yeah, exactly. Um,
Uh,
and
but
also
this one being like
it
what,
wants you to think
20
it's a
years later?
musical. Also, it's what's interesting that you might find interesting. It's directed by I don't know about the second one, but the first one is directed by Kenny Ortega, who is the director of the High School Musical movies, which you'll instantly go,
That makes sense.
Jake did the same thing. He said he went, a lot of that movie makes sense now.
Yeah. I can feel that influence.
You
That
can,
absolutely.
but I saw a review that was basically like you got Bette Midler and you did one musical number, like one,
I mean, yeah, that's an interesting choice.
like this. Yeah.
Um,
But that I don't know how much else I have left of the. I didn't start a timer, so I don't know how long we'll be doing this. But that's pretty much it. All I had
but
for
Justin, unlike before, as long as it takes.
as long as it takes. Yeah, I don't know that I have.
So then we move to Hocus Pocus 2.
Um,
Unless you want me to do mine in between.
yeah, you might as well do yours. Well, what did you have anything? What you had? We did both of your had scenes, right?
Yeah, we did both my had scenes and we did one of my have not scenes.
What am I doing?
I didn't get the chance to talk about my the other have not seen because we cut that.
So wait, so
The
let's think of the half scenes. So sorry, we did talk about both your half scenes, right? Which was
Yeah,
remind me again,
we did Halloween Town 1 and 2,
right?
and the Book of Life, which yeah, I talked about both of those.
Okay, good. Oh yeah, yes, we did. When we got enough detail on the Book of Life,
I think so.
Halloween, the
Halloween
Goosebumps
Town 1
2.
and 2, which I think we did good with as well.
Yeah, we did good with his one. You didn't talk about the third one.
No, I didn't talk about the third or fourth one because I figured I'd leave that for like next Halloween maybe.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then, yeah, we'll sandwich in let's sandwich in your
The Curse of Bridge Hollow.
yeah. Let's leap into the have not scenes. Yeah, because I didn't talk about either of my have not scenes. So
I thought that Hocus Pocus 1 was one of your have not seen.
no, I've seen Hocus Pocus.
Oh,
We've seen, well, at
okay.
least I watched that movie as a kid. I was positive
Okay.
you also
Well, then
did.
we'll do one of your. Maybe I did, but to be fair, there's a lot of things I've seen, and I don't necessarily remember them all.
Yeah, fair, fair enough.
Um, um. Then we'll do your first have not seen. Then we'll do my other have not seen. Then we'll go back to your second have not seen.
Well, the second have not seen would be Hocus Pocus 2. And the big thing with Hocus Pocus 2 is it very
20 years too
much
late.
is it's 20 years too late. Yeah, exactly. It feels like um it feels like two movies. Like it feels like part of it is like a couple years later. Um, Sort of it's about their backstory because the elements where it's like their backstory and you're meant to feel sad for the Sanderson sisters is conflicting with the stuff where they're mugging around town and they're doing the big dance number. Like there's a lot of this movie
So
like, oh, okay, so they've got the candle and there's the cat now they're doing the musical. It's stuff you recognize but not done well.
yeah. So here's what I'll say about the second one: is it feels like you're right. Like, you're right. I hadn't really thought about it this way, but now it feels like the tale of two movies. The first movie is Hocus Pocus 2, but it would have been 20 years ago, and they would have probably tried to get like some of the characters from the first one back,
Yeah,
and it would have been the Sanderson sisters have returned again for revenge against the children from the first one, and it would have been more like that kind of story.
yeah,
And then the other half of this story just feels like it's about this group of three witches who have to defeat an evil witches who weren't
yeah,
the Sanderson
yeah,
sisters, but
absolutely.
were just
Well,
evil witches that
the
they had to defeat.
weirdest character in that movie is there's a blonde witch who shows up at the beginning when you see the Sanderson sisters backstory. She shows up and just kind of gives them the book and leaves. And it sort of comes across as though at one point she was the bad guy. Like
Yeah,
they're the scenes of the Sanderson, like the girls like taking him around the mall and like being like fish out of water, like they're not in the modern day. That stuff
yeah,
is like from a completely different movie. Like it feels like, yeah, and then the ending where it's like they're all sad that they're dying. That's from that movie. Like that is
yeah.
emotional payoff to a movie we're not watching. Like
Like, why do I feel bad for the Sanderson sisters? They kill kids.
right, like the scene, the movie opens with her as a granted they find a pretty decent looking like approximation of her as a kid, but they starts with it gives the impression as though Winnie is gonna have this character arc of learning to not be so domineering, but
Not take her sisters for granted.
yeah, which the ending pays off, but there's nothing in the middle to facilitate that ending. There's a beginning of a
No,
character arc and then there's an end of a character arc, but there's no middle character arc.
I would just say that there is no arc. She
Right.
doesn't get
There's
the
no
arc.
arc part
It's
of the
point.
arc.
Yeah, it's just a line
It's
where
just
she goes
yeah.
from point A to point B, and there's nothing in between.
Right. So there's this big emotional scene. I think the first time I saw you watching this movie and I said I've only seen one clip from it and it's that bit at the end where they're all dying and it looks really sad and emotional. And I said, "What is that in context?" And you're like, "It's bad because for all the." I'm pretty sure you said the same thing I did. It's
I
incredibly
probably
unearned.
did. It's
It,
very unearned.
it's
That's the biggest
incredibly
thing I
unearned.
remember. It's just, and again, it's just I don't. When I first heard that they were coming out with the Hocus Pocus 2, I just remember my first thought being why.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
Like,
the big thing is like,
it's so past the time to do that. And to be fair, a number of movies have done that in recent years, where it's like you're going back and they're banking on this nostalgia, and it's like I get it to a degree, but after a certain point, the actresses are and this is
well, I say,
me
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
mean
yeah,
to
they're
say,
getting
but
old, right? Yeah, you can't do this
they're
forever.
they're
Yeah.
they're too old, and it's not believable. Like, you're bringing back the Sanderson sisters from the grave. Why did they age?
Well,
I'm
my
not
thing
talking the
is,
I'm not talking the external reasons of humans age and those
yeah.
actors are older. I'm saying in this world where it's magic and it's a magic candle which is bringing them back to life, why would they ever age?
My thing is
Why would they?
Bette Midler looks the same way that she does at the beginning of the first movie before she kills the kid. Like
before she kills
like she
the
that like
kid.
you know how in the first movie she's supposed to look like old and decrepit and like and Sarah Jessica Parker and the other lady do, but Bette Midler doesn't for some reason. Like she looks like
Okay.
that before she drinks the magic kid juice and becomes youthful. Like she looks like that
Yeah.
normally now because she's just gotten older. Like that's not her fault. That's not me. That's not me
No.
making saying that it's a
Well,
bad thing.
that's
It's
the
just a
thing is like
natural consequence of aging.
I'm not holding this against though like the people that are in it. It's not that's yeah, that's like not that's what happens when you get older is you get older.
Right?
I'm just saying from a movie making standpoint, it just it detracts from it
It's
because all I'm thinking about as a viewer is it's a magic spell. Why like it comes across like they're choosing to remain to look old
right. Also,
when like
them coming to back to life is although they do kind of explain it, but it's still kind of weird and dumb. Like, and to be fair, yeah, there is an element of like you would have a guy like or people like the guy who runs the magic shop or whatever who are like
oh
just
yeah,
big fans and like
true crime enthusiasts.
yeah, who have just who've moved on past this bad thing that happened or no longer believe it. And like, there's a couple of really weird, like the one weird moment where they're flying their magic brooms and they fly past a window and someone's watching the first movie somehow.
What?
There's a bit where they're flying on the brooms through the air, and they fly past these two guys' house, and they're sitting on the couch and they're like laughing, and they're literally watching the first movie. It's the scene where and I thought it was a funny scene, but it's the scene where they run into the guy who's dressed like the devil, and they think that he's their master, and like he's partying with them or whatever. And
Yeah, I
the
remember that from
wife,
the first one.
yeah, the
Yeah.
wife comes down. They like, dude, with your wife in the house, what is wrong with you? They literally play that scene on the TV. So
Oh,
she
that's
like
funny.
Bette Midler's character flies past it, and she stops for a second and she sees it, and then she just shakes her head and keeps flying. So it
That's funny.
implies that the Hocus Pocus movie exists in that universe as a movie,
That's confusing,
right?
but
Right?
hilarious at the same time.
Right? See, this is all the
Um,
stuff you get when you tune into the Spur of the Moment podcast. All this weird nitty gritty stuff.
um, yeah, it's one of those things where it's not devoid of things to like. The second one,
No, like
it's just
there's a quite a funny moment where
too
she
late.
yeah where she make
That's my thing.
where they make like I will say like maybe it's because I don't have any attachment to this movie, but I will say the bit where they do the dance and because this is the sequel, it needs to be bigger. So now everyone in the background does choreography and stuff. And it's kind of I don't know if it was a case of like I just made the line funnier myself, but like they like she's basically brainwashed them to try and find the mayor, because that's the whole thing is they want revenge on the mayor's descendant, because they're the one that persecuted them when they were
Yeah, I
kids.
remember that, and
Yeah,
he's the dad of the one girl in the
yeah.
new
There's that.
trilogy
There's the funny bit where she's got the dancing flash mob
triangle.
zombies. They're like flash mob dancing down the street trying to find this mayor, and they're basically like, "This is not helpful. Why won't they stop dancing? Like that's not what the spell's supposed to do." So in my brain, I was like, they just keep dancing. That's not what the spell does. Um,
That's funny.
but no, this movie it's one of those ones where it's either written by people who are fans of the original movie, or it just remembers the original movie differently, where it remembers the original movie being more of a musical than I think than it was. So like
So I mean,
this movie's
that
got
could
like
be,
three
or
musical numbers, whereas the first one had one and it lasted like a
that
minute.
it could be that, or it could be that whoever wrote this one, or maybe Bette Midler had more influence on this one, or they were like, "Hey, we've got Bette Midler. Why don't we have more music in this
I
one?"
mean, maybe, yeah, because the first one, like I say, got one musical number and it's not very long. Like I know people
Yeah,
remember that
isn't
I'm
it?
gonna get you, but it
Is
doesn't
it?
last very long.
Isn't in the first one? Isn't it just I put a spell on you, and
No,
now
no.
you're mine?
I believe they sing "I'm Gonna Get You." I believe that's from the.
No, I think that's the second
Is that
one.
the second one?
The first one, I'm pretty sure, is I put a spell on you.
Is it? I mean, it might be both, because there's another song that they sing in the second one.
I just remembered in
I know what they sing. It's "I've got a spell on you," but I thought it was maybe more than one. I'm doubting myself. I think you might be right.
Yeah, I Put a Spell on You is definitely the first one.
I thought maybe it was something else then. Yeah, I guess you're right. But yeah,
Yeah.
the second one very much is like, oh, there's one musical number and it's the thing everyone knows, so now we need multiple ones. So yeah, it opens with like they reappear and they're doing a musical number and it's really weird and silly. And like this movie kind of reduces these characters to being kind of one joke. And they were like at least kind of sinister in the first movie, but in this one they're just kind of a joke. I guess is how I would put it.
They're caricatures in this one
Yeah, very much so.
because
Yeah.
because because it's been 20 years since they did the first one and they don't remember how the characters are
Yeah,
supposed to be.
particularly Sarah Jessica Parker does not remember how these characters are supposed to be.
Um, yeah, so the first one has I Put a Spell on You. The second one has The Witches Are Back. The first one has Come Little Children.
Right.
Uh,
Which the second one also has as well.
second one is One Way or Another.
Okay, then I'm getting them confused. That makes sense. But yeah, overall, it's just like to be fair. Maybe if I'm not like as impassioned about it as Haley was, or like even as Jake kind of no Jake wasn't because he hadn't seen it, but definitely as Haley was. Like I don't hate it. I the thing is I don't like Hocus Pocus enough to.
To care.
No, I don't want to say to care sounds so dismissive,
To
but
feel
yeah,
to feel strongly one way or the
right,
other.
and it just wasn't doing anything interesting. Like this week, I think for me, the most interesting stuff for me was Treehouse of Horror. Like that just to see like how The Simpsons has changed over time. Like that to me has more of an impact on me than that or the Halloween tree. Like learning about that was way more like
That's where I enjoy movies like The Book of Life and like Coco, where it's like, yeah, that one is well, having a movie which is more about the Day of the Dead is interesting to me
yeah.
because that's
That's
not something that I'm really familiar with.
well, I mean, I learned something from the Halloween tree. Like that was really neat. I appreciated how I learned something about Halloween and how it's different. But I think that's it. I think we did. Thank you for joining us, everyone, to this special
Um,
epilogue. And let's. Oh no, George got
well,
one more movie. George got
I
one more movie.
I still have the Curse of Bridge Hall, and you said you had one more have not seen.
Oh, I do. Right. We still got two more. Sorry. Right. I'm like, oh, Hocus Pocus. We did it. No, we still got two more movies. Sorry, folks. Let's continue.
Remember, this is the director's extended edition, which puts back in the deleted content.
Right. We're putting back into the lead scenes. Right.
Um,
We should just do
so
all of the
my,
content we've cut over the years.
I mean, that could be an entire episode one day.
Right. Cut
That will
content
be that will be the theme. Movies that we deleted.
that we deleted. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Um,
What's your next movie? Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
The Curse of Bridge Hollow. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was
And
Marlon Wayans I saw, weirdly.
yeah, Marlon
Marlon
Wayans.
Wayans, yeah.
And I think the girl, his daughter in it. I think she's the girl from Stranger Things.
Which girl
Which
from Stranger
character does
Things?
she play?
Which girl from
The
Oh, the little sister.
yeah, the little sister.
What's his
Hold
face's
on.
little sister? Because I'm like, there's only so many sisters who would fit. I don't want to be
The
racist, but there's only so many of the little sisters who I believe
yeah,
could be
she
Marlon
is.
Wayans' daughter. Yeah,
She is the sister of Lucas Sinclair
Lucas.
on
Yeah,
Stranger Things.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why I recognized her. But yeah, so basically I don't know how much you know about the movie.
Nothing.
Um,
I know
but
nothing.
premise of the movie is basically the Gordon family moves from Brooklyn to a small town called Bridge Hollows. The town is obsessed with Halloween, and the daughter is fascinated by it because her scientist father is like against anything Halloween or supernatural or anything that can't be just explained away by science, basically.
Science.
And he forces her he forces her to join a science team. She wants to join ballet. Basically, he keeps doing things where she keeps being like, "I don't want to do that," and he's like, "You have to do that," and it comes to a head in this movie. Um, the Sid meets her new school's paranormal society, and her house is essentially believed to be haunted. And then over the course of the movie, she finds that a toy or something which is haunted by this one spirit, Stingy Jack, um, who then from her toy decoration, ornament, whatever it was, then goes and possesses like all of the ornaments, all the Halloween decorations all throughout town. So you get scenes where like there's like a group of toy skeletons that have come to life and as are attacking them, or at one point they go into the school and it's possessing like the creepy clowns and stuff like that. And the dad, and this is my only real issue with the movie, is the dad, even though he keeps seeing things be possessed and not making sense, keeps going like, no, 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 no. There has to be a rational explanation for it. It's not possible. Even though at a certain point he talks about how when he was a kid he fell into this haunted house's basement or whatever and saw skeletons which were walking around and moving. But then a doctor told him that you sometimes see things when you have a concussion, and so then he's just like
The
belligerent,
frustrating
belligerently,
skeptic.
yeah,
Frustratingly
belligerently,
skeptical. There we go. That's what.
yeah, belligerently skeptical is how I would have worded it, but or belligerently resistant, and it makes it frustrating. But there's a certain point where, of course, of course, of course, eventually, he lets go, and his daughter's allowed to, not be stifled by him anymore, and there's a happy ending. And so it was funny because when you were like family friendly movies, and I went to watch this and I saw technically rated 14A.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think it needs to be. I understand theoretically why it is. But like, and that's where technically it's rated. I think it was like TV 14A, even though it's a movie. Netflix ratings are weird.
Netflix ratings are
Um,
weird.
um, but I don't really think it needs to be because it is to me a family movie, and the only reason why it is because like you've got scenes where the dad has a chainsaw and he's like chainsawing through the through the skeletons and stuff, which are just like there's nothing gratuitous because
Yeah. It's about
they're
as fun.
toys or
Like
whatever,
on a
right?
scale
Like
of 1 to Goosebumps.
it's about it. It's like same level as Goosebumps, I would
Goosebumps.
say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's like it's a PG rated family Halloween
Yeah, where it's like there's nothing
family
really.
horror.
Maybe some slight scary moments that I could see, but nothing that I think would make it need to be 14 or older to
I
watch
mean, I
it.
think as we have discussed today, children's movies can be legitimately upsetting and scary. So like,
Um, that's all I really have to say about that one. It's fine. It's not one that like I would say you need to go out and watch this right now. Oh my god, it's so good. It's okay. If you have Netflix, it's there as an option.
yeah, um, yeah, it sounds fun. How's the C? Is it like really heavy CGI? Like how does it look from a CGI perspective?
Um, not terrible. Like some of the skeletons and stuff. It's like it doesn't look cheap necessarily, but um, it's
Ooh, that's
yeah,
a
it's
one.
fine. A number of like you can tell that quite a few of them, like for example the clowns, which are supposed to be like like I think they're supposed to be the kind of Halloween decorations where it's like a hay-filled clown or something like that. I think that's what they're supposed to be,
Oh, okay.
but it's very obviously just people wearing costumes, right? But like
Oh,
you're
so that
not
could be
supposed,
charming. That could be charming in its own way.
yeah. It's yeah, it's fine.
It's all
Or like
right.
there's a point where they do a Ouija thing to talk to the person that locked away the ghost the first time, and she possesses the dad, so the dad is talking as her, and that's kind of fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Um, it's fine.
It's fine. Um. Wow. Okay. That's funny. Uh. I'm just trying to see how long we've been going, John. We've been doing this for 30 minutes already. We have a problem.
It's the deleted content. It's the thing that makes our podcast go to the 3 hours it was always meant to
It's
be.
always meant to be. Is that it? That all you have to say about it?
That's all I have to say, and that's my last pick.
So my last one. my last deleted one that we deleted that I completely forgot I deleted until just now. It's Hubie Halloween. It's Adam Sandler. Came out in 2020, and it's a straight to Netflix movie, and it's one of those. Adam Sandler does a stupid voice, so he plays a guy named Hubie.
Hubie Doobie.
Who basically Hubie Dubois is what his name is, and he is effectively hold on.
Hubie Dubois
Dubois. So he's basically the voice he's doing is effectively his character is basically Bobby Boucher.
I know the name, but not the voice.
Bobby Boucher, Waterboy.
Oh, H2O.
Yeah, that kind of weird lispy
Hey.
accent kind of thing, and the whole
Hey,
thing
guys.
is
Hey, Mama always said that I gotta go do this.
kind of that.
H2O.
But he.
Gatorade.
Oh, okay. So, basically the whole thing is Hubie is like essentially the town pariah. Nobody likes him. He's like a weird buzzkill. Like he's constantly concerned about people's safety. He's annoyed everyone with his like he's afraid of like everything. So like anytime anyone tries to like scare him, he gets instantly freaked out. And he is in love with a woman named something Valentine. She has the same last name as the love interest from Waterboy.
Her first name is something?
I can't remember the last name, but the poor part is the last name is that it's like something Vicky Val. Remember Vicky Valentine? I think it was Vicky Valentine. It was Vicky Valancourt.
Yeah, vaguely. So enough that I know. I know who you're talking about.
But yeah, the day before Halloween, he meets one of his new neighbors, a guy named Walter Lambert, who has basically been telling people, or has told him that a convict and childhood friend, Richie Hartman, has escaped from a local mental institution, and everyone in this town kind of fucks with Hubie, and they're all trying to either prank him or give him shit. And the big thing with this movie is like nothing really happens in it. It's just like a series of scenes of him interacting with people who don't like him. And the movie wants you to sympathize with you, except for he's kind of like the worst person ever. Like the whole thing is like he's just like this weird nag who like wants to rat everyone out, and like he's the kind of guy who like I can't think of a good comparison, but he like he'll like
and he's a narc.
Yeah, he's a narc basically. Yeah.
He's like Randall from Recess.
Yeah, and so he
Miss Finster.
But the movie wants you to think like he's a good guy. Like that's the whole thing. They want you to think like he's like this good misunderstood guy. But then in the next moment we'll be like, no, he does suck. It's very confusing. But throughout the movie, eventually, yeah, he meets this neighbor who has convinced him that he's a werewolf. Like he tells, so he at one point he runs into like one of the kids' dog who he believes is this werewolf, and these kids. What's interesting is apparently Cameron Boyce, one of the kids from Jesse, he passed away. He was supposed to be in this, so this movie is a tribute to him. But what's interesting is the Indian kid from Jesse, he's in this, and he's like a bully.
Oh, really?
And he's got an American accent, and it's really weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. But yeah, so as the movie goes on, the people who are picking on him, like the guy from Jesse, he's like one of his coworkers who constantly
all go missing one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host has died, and I will be taking over the show now.
Pretty much, yeah. So there's one guy who's like Ray Liotta, who's played by Ray Liotta, who constantly fucked with them. There's this couple. They all mess with him, and they all slowly disappear. And so Hubie thinks that it's this guy, Steve Buscemi, who he thinks is a werewolf. And he's gone to the police. He's like, oh, it's a werewolf, and who's doing this kidnapping? Like, who's doing? Like, did you appear in this maze and go after these kids? And it turns out that Walter is not actually a werewolf, and that he has also escaped from the mental hospital, or as he refers to it, the werewolf treatment center. And he and basically the insane guy who you think has been kidnapping and killing people the whole movie, he is played by Rob Schneider, escaped to, and he also thinks he's a werewolf, to convince Walter to go back to the treatment center. And so there's a point where he's like you gotta check him, he's killing people. And it cuts to the police station. Kenan Thompson is there as a police officer. He's like, yeah, no, he says he's from the werewolf treatment center.
He's a deeply
that's what it is.
Man.
Violet. Yeah, so it turns out they all because all the people who have been kidnapped are all people who are like victimizing Hubie, and so everyone thinks it's Hubie who's doing the kidnapping and trying to get revenge on his bullies. So he runs away, and throughout the movie, there's been like this female radio DJ who's been like narrating, like it's kind of, you remember in Catherine?
Oh yeah, the in between person.
Yeah, the radio DJ who's like, I'm the late night radio DJ. Like it sounds just like her. Yeah,
the midnight lover or something.
Yeah, the midnight train. Well, it turns out that this who you thought is a woman the whole time, it turns out that it's actually a
werewolf.
No, it's what's his name? Shaq. He's Shaq, and he just does that voice for the radio show. And he's married to a woman who has like a regular, like DJ 97, 103.5 QMFM, like a regular radio voice. And he's like, oh, I wonder what your real voice sounds like. He's like, this is my real voice. It's actually pretty funny.
See, it would have been funny if there was there was a werewolf at the end, and it just ended up being this really normal person.
Well, no, because there's a twist in this, and I'm going to give it away, but it's actually kind of a good twist. Basically, that you find out that Hubie has been phoning into this radio show, and so they really know him. But one person who has phoned into the radio show more than him, and it's a woman. And so he thinks, because this entire movie he's developed this relationship with, Vicky Valentine is what her name is. And so or Violet Valentine. And so he thinks that it's her. So he convinces her to meet him, and they meet up. And like, it's like one of those scenes where like you think it might be her. And they try to phone this like burner cell that the person is phoning from, and it's not ringing, and it continues to ring. And they're like, the police are on the other end, like, shit, Hubie, she's in your home. And he's like, oh no, because he lives with his mom. He's like, oh no, my mom. He goes to run back home to his mom, and the mom is there, and she's alone, and there's like a mask and a knife. And he's like, Mom, are you there? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, Mom, would you say I'm your special guy? And she's like, yeah. And he makes this face, and it's like this like Adam Sandler, good actor now, makes this really good subtle face where you can see him start to realize, and he's like, oh no. He's like, Mom, would you say you would do anything for me? And she's like, yeah, I would do anything for you. And he's and she's like, oh no. And it turns out she's been the kidnapper the whole time. And I'm like, you know what?
Snap.
You know what? That's a good, like, not only is it a fun homage in terms of like horror movies, it's a fun kind of homage to Friday the 13th. Maybe it's because we've been talking those movies that I appreciate it, but it's just kind of the movie doesn't really telegraph it. Like, obviously that it's not the crazy guy from the asylum. Like, that's a red herring, but I would have never guessed it was the mom. And then, yeah, he goes outside, and she's got all of the people, all of his bullies all tied up as they're all like begging for her life. And he's like, no, Mom, you can't kill him.
So this is a family movie?
Yeah, it's I would say it's
about killing and kidnapping?
I would say it's family friendly, in like it's a PG rated movie, I would say. So
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not like a Disney feature, but it's a PG affair, I would say. Like, it's not R rated, or it's all in the like, it's funny, like it's all in the pursuit of humor. Like, the ending is funny because she's got them all tied up. She doesn't kill them. No one dies. Everyone lives. But she's basically trying to be like, you guys need to appreciate Hubie more. Like, he He looks after you. He like watches you. He makes sure you're okay. And they've got this
He's a
nickname.
good man.
Yeah, where they call and like she's like he saved your life, your worthless, ungrateful lives, and the entire movie they've been calling him Puby, and the guy who's from Jesse, he's like, oh, thanks Puby for saving our lives. And it's like, see, even when he saves your lives, you insult him, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I did that. That's on me. I don't. I.
Just such a force of habit.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
But I know I was surprised by I fell asleep watching it the first time and I was like, oh, it's not that good. And then I rewatched it this morning, and I was like, you know what? It's better than I thought it was. It's not the worst Adam Sandler movie on the planet.
No, that's Jack and Jill.
That's still pretty firmly Jack and Jill.
I don't think it will ever not be Jack and Jill. I honestly, unless he makes a real stinker, I think that will be the lowest point in his career.
So now, Jordan, here's the question. This is going to be live in the moment. Do I cut out the previous end of show plugs and we do new end of show plugs and this is the real ending? Or do we just be like, good night, everybody, and call it the ending here?
I think we do new plugs, new ending, new everything, because you're just cutting that out, and that means that you can just straight cut at that point, and you don't have to cut and then cut back in the original. It's just simpler.
Yeah, or I guess we will do end of show plugs, and worst case they hear the plugs twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well have them just in case I need them, and if I don't need them, they have to listen to them twice. So, yeah. End of show plugs. Assignment. So in the initial run of this, I said pick an actor too. Oh, I know what. Let's end this. That's the end of Hubie Halloween. Thus ends the Spook (E of the Moment) podcast miniseries for October. Next week we return to the regular show, Spur of the Moment, and we begin something new.
Because you thought I was done. There's one more for the end of the month.
One final spooky incomparable Jordan. Thank you for sticking around. If you stick around to the ending of this, if you're watching the director's cut version of this, thank you for the Spotify listeners. But next week, I said on the initial run, I said pick an actor too. I think I'm gonna stick with that. I want to watch some Jim Carrey stuff. I'd like to watch Ace Ventura and Ace Ventura 2. Okay. And the number 23. I'm not gonna do Batman Forever though. Also, potentially, we may be having our good friend Jake on. He said he's gonna be here, but Jake's a very busy guy.
Don't break our heart again, Jake.
He's a busy man. He's got like 50 other podcasts he's doing. So he has said he's gonna be here, but hopefully on the 17th we're gonna be talking about Batman and Batman related projects.
But I want it to be on the record that if he bails on us, I'm judging him.
That is completely fair.
That's not us as a pair, just me individually. I will be judging you.
It's true.
So let that be the motivation not to bail out on us, because I will be judging you and I won't be mad, but I'll be disappointed in you.
God, that's so much worse.
And we all know that that's 1,000 times worse.
Hard cut to the 17th. We're doing not Batman. Jake couldn't make it, and you're like, I'm not actually judging you.
No, but I am disappointed.
But I am incredibly disappointed. So Jordan, let's redo our end of show plugs. Jordan, where can they find you?
I do Minecraft Mondays on ZethGore187 on Twitch, and on the weekends I do the Spur of the Moment podcast, where I talk about pop culture, movies, TV, and other things.
Jordan, I didn't ask for the whole spiel. I just wanted to know. I'm kidding. You can find me on TikTok. I'm at Justin Spur on TikTok. You can also find the show on TikTok. It's the Spur of the Moment P. If you want to email the show and you want to sponsor us, we will take it. I had a Coke can here. We bow to all sponsors. I don't like Bud Light, but I'll drink it if it means you'll pay me.
Or you'll certainly think I'm drinking it.
Right, exactly. You can email the show. If you want to be on the show, we now have a handy dandy Google form that you could fill out, because a friend of mine gave me that idea and I really liked it. So you can fill out the Google form and you can come do this with us. We can talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. We can shape the show around you. We can shape the show around your schedule.
Ship
But
shape.
thank you for tuning in to this director's cut. We will see you next week, everybody, with